retired at 28, and at 28 I was really struggling with what to do in life. I was twiddling my thumbs at home probably for about a year, and I really struggled mentally. And then my wife said, "Why don't you be a therapist?" And I was like, "Well, I don't want to." That's why. I said, "No, try it, because you sometimes make me cry when you have deep conversations. That's a good thing, right?" I said, "Yeah, maybe." And it made me reflect more on my career as well. From 16, when I left home, for 2 years, it was very isolating. Maybe some of you can relate to that, as moving away from home to come to uni. And I decided to take on a course at 29 it was. And it's possibly one of the best things I've ever done, because I learned about myself and other people. It was a Transactional Analysis course. I got a diploma in that. And when I did kind of qualify for that, I was like, "Well, so now what? Where do I go? What do I do?" And obviously, I talked before about the counselling directory, psychology today. And I started to get a few clients. And then I got approached by 2 charities. One called... Did you hear any of that? And I got approached by a charity, a sporting charity called Sporting Chance, and they deal with men and women from a sporting background, professionals such as netball, boxing, football, rugby, and darts. And as they were talking, and I was talking to them, it made me reflect on my time of being injured. So I was a professional for 12 years, and I think I was probably injured for 3 of those years. So I had to reflect on a lot about myself, think about other stuff as well. And being injured is one of the worst things a sports men and women can actually go through, because you lose your identity. You don't know what you're doing with your life. You just sat there, and sometimes because you're so focused and addicted to perfecting your sport and your craft, once you can't do that, you kind of direct that into other places, such as drugs, alcohol, gambling maybe. So a lot of my clients come to me for that as well, for help. And I think my way of relating to them is actually talking about my time as well, what it was like, and the importance of actually speaking up. Because when you're injured, you don't want to tell anybody because you're embarrassed. You don't want to tell the coach or the manager because they might not play you, because they might see that as weakness. And when you are fit, he doesn't want you to play as well, just for that reason. And so after 5 years of obviously me being injured as well, up until I was 22, I ended up having a stroke at a young age at 22. And that's, in my opinion, I think that was purely down to me not talking, not speaking up, and actually not talking about how it actually felt for me to be injured and the psychological impacts it had on me. So then also, what I also deal with as well is sportsmen and women who aren't actually playing as well, who are actually playing in a team, and now obviously their identity's gone as well. It's like, what am I actually doing? And getting paid to do absolutely nothing. So what do I do? So the free time I'll have, again, I'll turn to addictions, and I'll lose myself in any way possible, really. So that's what I do also in terms of the sports side. I also got approached by a young charity in Manchester, for young people, called 42nd Street. I don't know if any of you are aware of that. It's from 11 to 25. And I really enjoy that. It's due to I work in a particular field. I'm part of a team who work for diversity, for people from a dual heritage background. And you speaking before about why. I think I'm doing this because I feel like I think I'm a role model in some ways, coming from the inner city of Manchester. I know what it's like as a black person not to have that kind of figure in a mental way to talk. I do have parents, fantastic, but I think in my culture it's not really a thing to outwardly speak about your emotions. I think having a therapist or even a role model like myself who can help young people. You hear on the streets today people with knife crime, etc., what they're getting into, and they generally think it's because they've been misguided. They don't have that figure to actually help them and guide them, and that kind of role model to actually steer them in the right direction, and to have that trusted adult to guide you in the right way. You can go a long way for people who in that situation, because ultimately they don't have the backing of people. They feel so lonely, and the closest ones to them, unfortunately, are the gangs. They're their family. It's their family as well. So from the adults and for the young people, I do get actually more nervous with young people, because they're scary, right? They can be scary, young people, and obviously the adults, you can kind of log into it quite quickly. And what I found with young people, if I actually identify that I am actually, and speak about me being nervous, it actually helps them relax as well. And they'll be like, "Well, really, you?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm nervous. And I'm like, well, why? Because you're new, and I'm guessing I'm new to you, so it's a bit, it's weird, isn't it? She's like, well, yeah. And so that helps break the ice. I think being authentic and being honest with what I do and what I did as well, and obviously not all, but a lot of people do like football as well, so it's a nice break. It's a nice breaker as well there, which helps them relax and understand a bit about myself as well. And so the private practice also, I get a lot of parents. Coming to me as well to help their children or nephews or nieces, whoever that may be, to help them in terms of understand what's going on, because a lot of people, also young people, don't have the parents realise that they might have the emotional language in order to kind of help their young people, to help their children. So can you help can you help me as well, really? So of course I do that, but I do find that it's just so important to be yourself, be authentic, be true to what you believe in, find your why, like you mentioned before. And speaking of that why, at 42nd Street, the children's charity, I actually didn't get the job to begin with, because I went straight from football into this kind of corporate world in a way. I like to call it. I know it's a bit exaggerated, but it was in my case, because I wasn't used to that. And they didn't get the job because they said they didn't really know me. And what actually got me through that, what should have been probably a 30-second, I wish you all the best, take care for the future, do what you need to do, ended up being another hour in an interview, because I found, well, no, this is an opportunity where I can actually help young people in my position, given what I've been through in my past, and given coming from the inner city. I know people can really appreciate, and if somebody like myself, a figure to actually help guide them, and also just, if it's not just guiding, just somebody they can relate to, so we can actually talk about emotions, somebody who gets it as such. And for my culture being Black Caribbean, in my culture it's not really a thing to talk about emotions, it's not at all. And I think having somebody like myself, person of colour, I think it's absolutely key in this industry for somebody to really help the people, the minority as such, really, to break through that barrier, because I think there's a barrier there. A lot of people are scared to talk because what if, I don't know, it's a bit weird, I'm not used to it. And I've actually done family therapy as well, where they are actually in the room together, and the parent actually broke down more than the child, and the child actually was kind of helping them, and so you saw the strengths in that sense as well. So I think it's real key. I think that's my why again. I keep going to the why, because I think it's absolutely key to find out what your thing is. What is that? I didn't know that until I was nearly 30. But as long as you're true to yourself and really reflect on who you are, I think it's key. And there's no other person better than who you actually are. You mentioned it as well, Jack. So it's just a brief one today. I didn't really know what I was actually going to say. I think you said he was going to wing it as well. I think I'm doing the same thing now. But I think if you can get anything out of this, is be authentic, be yourself. Because once you do that, when you're in the room, it kind of just flows. You will be nervous, but I think if you're just yourself and address that, if you want to, I think you'll find out who you are. I think it's key. Thank you.